Hey everybody, this is going to be a playthrough of the CWW-02-2 mission from the Cold War Warrior campaign for the Flaming Cliffs Su-25. Looking at the mission briefing, we got a late afternoon mission in the winter. There's going to be snow on the ground that gives you some pretty good contrast with the enemy units, but it's also a pretty low light scenario, so visibility is a little bit of an issue. The clouds are high enough that they don't present the problem, it's really just the low light. Looking at the loadout, we got some unguided rockets as well as some laser guided missiles, the S-25Ls that are pretty short range. Looking at the allies, we got a whole bunch of MiG-23s. I got an A-50, which is essentially an AWACS, a bunch of other Su-25s, and some Su-17s as well. We got a flight plan here, so you want to take note of the times and the speeds and the altitudes for all of this. If you want to stay close with the strike package, you're going to want to follow this pretty precisely. If you don't care about the strike package, you just want to jet out ahead of them, that's fine. You'll be under a little bit more threat from enemy AAA and SAMs, and you might have some fuel issues if you're on full throttle the whole time, but it's certainly a viable option. And we're going to be Grok 3 in the strike package. It's a 2-ship. Looking at the threats, we got Stinger manpad guided SAMs, Hawk radar guided SAMs, we got Roland radar guided SAMs, and some Gepard AAA. There's also some F4s flying around, but hopefully the MiG-23s will be dealing with them. At these pictures here, we got here's the route kind of at the end stage here. So we got the ingress point or the initial point and the strike. So it'll be shooting along this road. This is going to be a city, and then we got this little part that juts out at the northeast. So we'll be looking for a road coming out of there. Looking at the mission planner. This is our flight highlighted down here. So we'll just take off out of Sochi, follow this route. So we'll be skirting kind of the western edge of this lake, coming up through Krasnodar on the eastern side of Krasnodar, looking for this little protrusion at the northeast side, then looking for a road coming out of there. Because of the low light scenario, this road's going to be lit up with street lights, so that'll help you locate the road, although spotting these targets is going to be pretty difficult. So we look at the satellite view coming out of the city. There's going to be a bridge that we could look out for, and then they're going to be somewhere past the bridge. You might be able to see some of these other units out in the fields. It'll probably be easier to spot those than the ones on the road. This convoy, they're not quite on the road. They're kind of on the shoulder. So they're kind of hard to spot. They'll be nestled right up against the street lights. You might see just like a little visual distortion that tells you that they're there. You don't really want to try to overfly them because you got this Gepard up here to the north. That's a pretty big threat. If you get anywhere over these targets, this Gepard will be shooting at you, and he's pretty vicious. And he'll take you down real fast. So if you can spot these other targets out in the field, these are not your targets, but you might be able to see them, or even this group up here, you can come back south and kind of triangulate on where this convoy is. But if you line up on the road, there's a pretty good chance you'll spot that visual distortion where these guys are, and then you can just start shooting at them. The approach I like for this is to launch the S-25Ls from as far away as I can once I spot these targets. You're not going to have the in-range indication, so you probably need to use launch permission override, but those missiles will fly farther than the range indication would tell you. So it's pretty effective to launch them from out of range and just kind of ripple fire them. Once you got a bunch of them in the air, when the first one hits, you just slew that targeting reticle up a little bit to the next target. These are big enough explosions that you don't need to be right on these targets. These are pretty squishy targets. It's a bunch of artillery and trucks and APCs and things like that. So nothing super heavy armor. You don't need direct hits to kill these guys. If you can just land those missiles somewhere fairly close to any of them, off to the side is a little okay. In between these units is definitely fine. You'll get a bunch of kills just kind of roughly firing all those missiles into that general area. Each of these guys is going to scatter to kind of a pre-configured scatter pattern about 30 seconds after you enter the area. So your only real chance to get them while they're lined up along the road is right on your first pass. If you don't kill them all or you don't use all your munitions on that first pass, which you probably won't, they're going to scatter off into the field on each side. So just keep an eye out for that in your second and third passes. It's still easy. It's even easier to spot them once they're out in the field, but you're not going to be able to kind of ripple off a bunch of rockets or missiles at one spot and kill a bunch very easily that way. So get as many missiles as you can off on your first run, but be careful. You don't, like I said, you don't want to be overflying this group because that'll put you well in range of this Gepard up here. So get maybe 3 or 4 missiles off, turn away to the right each time because there's no significant AAA or SAM threat down here. So after your attack run, turn right, regroup, and come back in and just do the same thing. Use up all your missiles if you can, and then all your rockets. Sometime after you enter this area, there's going to be these man pads are going to spawn. They're not going to be there in the beginning, but they get triggered sometime after you enter the area. So once you start seeing man pad shots, you probably, you can just leave at that point if you want to. You don't need to kill all of these units or even any of them. The mission success criteria is just that you enter this area and then go back and land safely back at Sochi. So even if you don't kill anything, you'll still get the mission success result. And you certainly don't want to die. So if you want to play it safe, once you start seeing these man pads, just bail out at that point in RTB. If you want to risk it and keep going until you've used up all your weapons, that's fine. Just be aware that you are undertaking that risk and you might fail the mission. So in summary, we're going to fly up to Krasnodar following the route, locate this road just past the bridge to the east. We're going to find this convoy along the side of the road, kill as many of those as we can without dying, and then RTB back to Sochi, and that'll be it. All right, start the mission. Close the canopy, get the electrical on, engines on, flaps down. Call ATC, let them know we're starting up.
Сочи, 33-й. Запуск. 3-3, Сочи. Запуск разрешаю. Ветер у земли 3-2-3. Скорость 3 метров в секунду. Обнаружена цель. 3-5-9. Удаление 220. На 3500. Сближай 33-й, 13-й. Обнаружена цель. 3-5-9. Удаление 220.
Alright, engines are ready. We'll request taxi, see which runway we're going to.
Сочи, 33-й. Руление.
Not getting an immediate response, so we're probably waiting for something else to happen. Alright, runway 24. It's left to right from this perspective, so we'll taxi out to the left. See a couple jets taxiing out there. Alright, that's 2-4. We're right about on time. We'll straighten out and take off right away. We'll get the nav system set to waypoint 1. There it is. And we got a long flight ahead, so I'll put timestamps in the video description if you want to skip over the boring part. Still just barely see one of those other SG-25s that took off before us. Flight plan calls for 2,000 meters altitude through here. I'm going to fly a lot higher to conserve fuel, so we got a long flight there and back. I'll be shooting to maintain 600 kph ground speed throughout, at least until waypoint 1. Alright, this altitude will work okay. I don't want to get up into the next cloud layer, so we'll stay just below it. We'll level out and work on maintaining speed, work on the trim. Wingman caught up to me. We're looking pretty good on schedule. I think we'll be there right about on time. Pretty much hands off the stick at this point, just making little throttle adjustments to keep the BVI at 0. Alright, the next leg calls for 300 meters AGL altitude, so we'll drop towards waypoints 2 and try to find that altitude. Speed up a little bit to 700 kph ground speed. Looks like we'll just be very slightly early to waypoint 1, but that's no big deal. Alright, there's the switch to waypoint 2. We'll turn and descend.
Grach 1-1, strike package departing rendezvous point.
As we get low, I'll start watching the radar altimeter. We're looking for 300 on that. Alright, there's 300. Level off. It's not important to stay exactly at 300, it's just rough.
Truck 11.
Alright, we're a little slow, but I haven't seen any of the other strike assets ahead of us. Oh, there's one right there. Alright, we'll speed up a little bit. Yeah, there he is right there. Alright, since we're close to the target, I'll get air to ground mode going, lower that glass a little bit, switch to the missiles. I think we'll be looking for a road coming off of that little forest in center screen right now. There's that lit up road along there. Trying to pick up a little speed so we can pop up effectively. So yeah, I think it'll be that lit up road there. Probably past the bridge. I'm gonna pop up a bit. Got kind of low cloud, so I can't pop up too much. And I'll turn in. Slow down a bit. I think I could see the distortion on the ground, kind of a black line where those units are at. Right about in here. So I'll go ahead and start shooting. These missiles go farther than the HUD will think, so I'll use launch permission overrides. I think they're right about here. And that part's firing, so I'm going to shoot 4 and then turn away. Alright, I'm going to be pretty aggressive maneuvering. Just a lot of jinking to get around that Gepard fire. Alright, doesn't look like he actually shot at me, but Gepards are pretty fierce. So I didn't want to take any risks. I'll tell the wingman to start shooting too. Alright, those guys are scattered off the side of the road now, so shoot for the guys on the right to stay just that little bit further away from the Gepard. Let's get that laser on. Just a rough approximation for now. And we'll start shooting. Keeping an eye on that Gepard. He's shooting at somebody else. Alright, got those two and killed a stinger while we're at it. So now that we know they're stingers, we'll be using flares. Throttle down for now. Until I can look back and see any stinger shots coming in. I will come back in and launch the rockets from max range and then return home. Since I'll be looking for max range on the rockets, I'll just shoot them all at one target. Keeping an eye on that Gepard out there, as well as any man-pad shots. Just waiting for range. Alright, there it is. And we'll turn away with no throttle. Pumping out flares. Looks like those rockets didn't hit. That's okay. We survived. That's the most important part. Switch back to air to ground, nav mode. Get those maneuver flaps off, and then we'll switch to return mode so we can get back to the airfield. We'll stay low for just a little bit while we're getting out of the target area. And I'll tell the wingman to go home too if he hasn't already died.
Звену. Возврат на базу.
No response from him. I didn't catch any radio calls about that, but he's probably dead. Alright, we're a decent ways away from the combat area there, at target area, so we'll climb back up to real high altitude to save fuel on the way home. We got a long boring flight home. Again, there will be timestamps in the video description if you want to skip past the boring parts. I'm going to get rid of these empty rocket pods and the canisters for the S-25A missiles, reduce the drag a bit. Alright, I'll level out here at about 10,000. Let's pick up the speed a little bit. We're shooting for about 800 kph ground speed. Get us home pretty quick. Slow down a little bit to get rid of the shakiness. And since we're so high, I'll start coasting downhill when we're about 60 kilometers away. It'll take quite a while to get down there. Alright, I think Sochi's kind of in there, just under the clouds. Alright, we're at 60 kilometers. I'll just go idle throttle and we'll dive pretty aggressively to get below the clouds. I'll pop the speed brake out to make sure the speed doesn't get out of control. Just looking for the airfield. I think maybe that's it out there. Yeah, I think that's it out there. I'm going to turn the speed breaker off for now. Level out a bit as we coast to the return point. Alright, we're slow enough for gear and flaps, so I'll do that now. I'll start working on trim. And I'll go ahead and turn towards the airfield. Set it to landing mode. And we'll tell them we're coming in.
Сочи, 33-й, возврат. 3-3, Сочи, следуйте курсом 181, удаление 2, давление 757,38, посадочный 0,6, занимайте высоту круга. Работайте с посадкой. 3-3, Сочи. Проверьте выпуск шасси. Ветер у земли 3-2-3. Скорость 3 метров в секунду. Посадочный 0,6. 3-3. Заруливайте на стоянку.
That'll do it.